Archaeological evidence indicates that the Japanese archipelago, a chain of 4 main islands and thousands of smaller ones stretching over 3,000 kilometers along the Pacific Ring of Fire, provided a diverse and dynamic setting for early human adaptation. Formed by tectonic activity at the convergence of 4 major plates, the region experiences frequent earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, and tsunamis, which have profoundly influenced settlement patterns and resource availability. Radiocarbon dating of volcanic ash layers and sediment cores, as analyzed in studies from the University of Tokyo, Machida and Arai 2003 in Quaternary International, places the archipelago's major landforms in the Pleistocene epoch, with post-glacial warming around 14,000 years ago leading to rising sea levels that isolated the islands from the Asian mainland. During the late Pleistocene and early Holocene, the environment transitioned from cold tundra-like conditions to a temperate climate dominated by broadleaf deciduous forests in the north and evergreen broadleaf forests in the south. Pollen analysis from lake sediments in central Honshu, detailed in a 2018 study by Tarasov et al. In Quaternary Science Reviews, reveals a warming trend that supported rich biodiversity. Deer, boar, fish, and shellfish thrived in coastal and riverine zones, while coniferous forests covered mountainous interiors. This mosaic of ecosystems, rugged volcanic highlands, fertile alluvial plains, and sheltered bays, fostered resilient foraging strategies, but also posed challenges like seasonal monsoons and seismic instability. Excavations at sites like the UNESCO-listed Jomon prehistoric sites in northern Japan, listed 2021, underscore how these features shaped mobility. Early inhabitants navigated narrow straits via rudimentary boats, exploiting marine resources year-round. Many researchers, including those in Imamura's 1996 overview in Prehistoric Japan, New Perspectives on Insular East Asia, University of Hawaii Press, agree that the archipelago's isolation promoted cultural continuity while allowing selective exchanges with the continent via the Tsushima Strait. Yet uncertainties remain. Stratigraphic evidence suggests variable sea levels may have connected southern islands to Kyushu until around 10,000 BCE, potentially facilitating gene flow, a topic of ongoing debate in genetic studies, for example Kanzawa Kiriyama et al. 2019 in Anthropological Science. This environmental cradle set the stage for millennia of innovation, from stone tools to settled villages. Human presence in the Japanese archipelago dates back to the Upper Paleolithic, with stone tools and hearths unearthed at sites like Iwajuku in Gunma Prefecture, radiocarbon dated to approximately 38,000 to 39,000 years ago using accelerator mass spectrometry (AMS) on associated charcoal. Sato et al. 2011 in Journal of Archaeological Science. These artifacts, including blade-like tools and microblades, suggest small bands of hunter-gatherers adapted to a harsh, glacial environment, hunting megafauna like Nauman elephants, whose bones have been found alongside. By the terminal Pleistocene, around 18,000 to 16,000 years ago, fossils such as the Minakagawa man from Okinawa, dated via uranium-thorium methods to about 18,250 years BP, Suzuki 1982 in Bulletin of the National Science Museum, Tokyo, reveal anatomically modern humans with robust features, possibly linked to Southeast Asian populations. Stratigraphic layers at cave sites like Shiraho Sayonetabaru show early use of obsidian for tools, traded over 100 kilometers, indicating social networks. Pearson, 2006, in the Land of the Setting Sun, University of Hawaii Press. The incipient Jomon phase, emerging around 16,000 to 14,000 BCE, marks a shift to semi-sedentary life with the world's oldest pottery, cord-impressed vessels fired at low temperatures for boiling, as evidenced by sherds from Odai Yamamoto 1 site, dated via AMS to 14,500 to 16,500 Cal BP. Pearson, 2006.
Excavations confirm pit dwellings and shell middens, reflecting exploitation of post-glacial marine bounty. Scholars largely concur on continental origins via land bridges during lowered sea levels, supported by genetic analyses showing affinities to Hoabinian cultures in Southeast Asia, Adachi et al. 2017 in Anthropological Science. However, debates persist over the extent of migration versus in situ evolution. Some evidence, like disputed pre-40,000 BP tools at sites in Kyushu, remains contested due to potential geological disturbance. Sato et al. 2011. Ongoing paleo-environmental modeling clarifies that climate fluctuations drove periodic recolonizations, blending indigenous adaptations with external influences. These foundational settlements laid the groundwork for cultural complexity, transitioning from mobile foragers to innovative island dwellers.
Spanning roughly 14,000 to 300 BCE, the Jomon period represents one of the longest continuous hunter-gatherer cultures globally, characterized by intricate cord-marked pottery and semi-permanent villages. Radiocarbon sequences from over 10,000 sites, calibrated using IntCal 20 curves, Reimer et al. 2020 in radiocarbon, divided into incipient, initial, early, middle, late, and final phases, with peak population around 5,000 BCE in the Middle Jomon. Daily life revolved around foraging. Shell middens at sites like Sanai Maruyama yield remains of acorns, chestnuts, salmon, and deer, processed with ground stone tools. Habu 2004 in Ancient Jomon of Japan, Cambridge University Press. Pit houses, up to 10 meters in diameter, clustered in villages of 100 to 500 people, as excavated in northern Tohoku, suggesting cooperative labor for construction and maintenance. Art flourished with dogu figurines, clay statuettes often depicting pregnant women or masked figures, numbering over 10,000 examples, dated typologically and via thermoluminescence to the middle and late phases. Interpretations drawn from contextual finds in ritual pits, for example Pearson 2006, point to fertility cults or shamanistic practices, though their exact function remains debated. Some scholars propose talismans against misfortune, while others see symbolic rebirth motifs. Lacquerware, the earliest known globally, appears in the initial Jomon, with vessels from Torihama Shell Mound dated to 7000 BCE via AMS, Uchida 2010 in Archaeometry. Socially, evidence from burial clusters indicates egalitarian structures with minimal grave goods differentiation, as analyzed in Bleed and Matsui's 2010 study in Asian Perspectives. Many researchers agree that Jomon's spiritual worldview emphasized animism, with stone circles and notched slabs suggesting seasonal ceremonies tied to lunar cycles, Naumann 2000 in Japanese Prehistory. Uncertainties linger in population estimates, ranging from 100,000 to 260,000 at peak due to incomplete site surveys. But overall, this era exemplifies sustainable adaptation in a forested, maritime niche.
The Yayoi period, approximately 300 BCE to 300 CE, heralds a transformative shift, introducing wet rice agriculture, metalworking, and denser settlements. Pottery typology and AMS dating of rice phytoliths from Itazuke site in Kyushu calibrate its start to around 900 to 400 BCE, adjusted from older estimates. Nishimoto, 2016, in Bulletin of the National Museum of Japanese History. Agricultural innovation, paddy fields with irrigation channels, appears first in northern Kyushu, as mapped in excavations yielding carbonized rice grains dated to 400 BCE. Crawford and Yoshizaki, 1983, in Journal of Ethnobiology. This boosted yields, supporting populations up to 10 times larger than Jomon levels, per demographic models in Habu's 2004 analysis. Technological imports include bronze bells, dotaku, and mirrors cast via lost wax methods, and iron tools for plowing, sourced from Korean ores. Over 1,500 dotaku dated via lead isotope analysis to 100 BCE to 200 CE, Murakami, 2012, in archaeometry, served ceremonial roles, possibly in rain-making rituals. Migration from the Korean peninsula is well supported by genetic evidence. Ancient DNA from Doegahama site in Shimano shows Yayoi individuals with 70 to 80% affinity to Mumun culture populations. Gakuhari et al., 2024, in Science Advances. Stable isotope studies of skeletons indicate a dietary shift to C4 plants like rice, confirming immigrant farmers. Kusaka et al., 2019, in Journal of Archaeological Science. Scholars interpret this as a dual process, cultural diffusion via trade routes alongside population influx, with Jomon-Yayoi admixture varying regionally, higher Jomon continuity in Tohoku. Hudson, 2022, in Asia-Pacific Journal. Debates center on migration scale, while genomic data affirm pulses from Korea around 800 to 400 BCE, Cook et al., 2021, in Science Advances. The role of elite-driven adoption versus mass settlement remains unresolved due to sparse skeletal evidence. This era's innovations fostered proto-urban centers, bridging foraging resilience with agrarian expansion.
Social structures in early Japan evolved markedly from Jomon egalitarianism to Yayoi hierarchies, inferred from settlement layouts and grave goods. In the Jomon, village excavations like Sanai Maruyama reveal radial pit house arrangements without central monuments, suggesting consensus-based decisions among kin groups of 20 to 50 people, Habu 2004. Burial practices, flexed bodies in urns with ochre, show uniform grave furnishings, supporting interpretations of relatively flat societies, though some late Jomon sites hint at emerging leaders via larger dwellings, Bleed and Matsui, 2010, in Asian Perspectives. Belief systems appear animistic, with dogu and stone arrangements evoking reverence for natural forces and ancestors. Ethno-archaeological parallels to Ainu practices suggest shaman-led rituals for rebirth, as explored in Naumann's 2000 study, though direct evidence is interpretive. The Yayoi introduced stratification. Keyhole-shaped tombs, Haniwa adorned, in Kansai, dated 100 to 300 CE via stratigraphy, contain mirrors and weapons for elites, indicating chiefly lineages controlling rice surpluses. Edwards, 2015, in People of Jomon and Yayoi Japan, University of Pennsylvania Press. Jar burials for commoners contrast this, per analyses in Mitsutani's 2018 work in Japanese Journal of Archaeology. Spiritually, Yayoi syncretism blended Jomon animism with continental ancestor worship, evident in dotaku depositions at field edges, possibly offerings to harvest deities. Hudson, 1999, in The Dark Island of Osiris, University of Hawaii Press. Many agree on fluid belief transitions, but debates arise over shamanistic continuity. Genetic admixture supports cultural blending, yet regional variations, e.g. Tohoku's persistent Jomon traits, highlight uneven adoption. Kanzawa Kiriyama et al., 2019. Overall, these systems reflect adaptive responses to ecological and demographic pressures, fostering community cohesion amid change.
Early Japanese cultures share and diverge from continental neighbors, illuminating regional interactions. The Jomon's pottery, with its cord-impressed designs, parallels Xinglonghua vessels in northeastern China, circa 6200 to 5400 BCE, both low-fired for cooking, as compared in Kuzmin's 2006 review in radiocarbon, suggesting shared forging technologies via Paleolithic dispersals. Yet, Jomon setentism and dogu art lack direct analogues, contrasting the mobile microlithic traditions of Siberian groups. Bleed 2002 in Jomon Reflections, Left Coast Press. In contrast, Yayoi rice farming mirrors Moomin Korea's 1500 to 300 BCE paddy systems, with identical iron sickles and granaries, supported by ceramic typology. Ri et al. 2007 in Korean Contributions to Agriculture, University of Hawaii. Migration evidence strengthens ties. Yayoi genomes cluster with Han Chinese and Koreans, per ancient DNA. Wang et al. 2021 in Science Advances, unlike Jomon's Basal East Asian affinity. Socially, Yayoi hierarchies echo Baodun culture's 2500 BCE's proto-states in Sichuan, with bronze ritual goods, though Japan's island isolation delayed urbanization. Underhill 2013 in Early China, Cambridge University Press. Scholars note selective adoption. While agriculture diffused from Korea, Jomon's spiritual elements persisted, unlike the Yangtze's oracle bone divination. Debates focus on agency, diffusion versus migration, with genomic data favoring the latter for Yayoi. Cook et al. 2021. These comparisons underscore Japan's position as a recipient and innovator in East Asian networks.
Contemporary scholarship on early Japan's formation grapples with migration dynamics and cultural continuity. A tripartite model, Jomon hunter-gatherers, Yayoi farmers from Korea, and Kofun migrants, emerges from genomic studies. Modern Japanese derive 10 to 20% Jomon ancestry, with Yayoi contributions dominant in the West. Cook et al. 2021 in Science Advances, and Gakuhari et al. 2024. Debates intensify over Jomon-Yayoi transition timing and mechanism. While Kyushu sites date rice to 900 BCE via phytolith AMS, Eastern adoption lagged until 100 BCE, suggesting diffusion over mass migration. Nishimoto 2016. Genetic clines support admixture, but some argue cultural replacement minimized Jomon input, contested by continuity in pottery motifs. Hudson 2022 in Asia-Pacific Journal. Uncertainties include Paleolithic origins, Southeast Asian versus Northern routes due to sparse fossils, with Minatagawa's morphology fueling discussions. Adachi et al. 2017. Climate data from ice cores link Jomon peaks to Holocene optima, but volcanic impacts on demographics remain modeled hypothetically. Machida and Arai, 2003. Recent interdisciplinary work, including stable isotopes tracing diets, Kusaka et al. 2019, refines views of resilient, adaptive societies. As new excavations and sequencing advance, our understanding evolves, affirming early Japan's role in global prehistory.